This recipe is a sweet potato and corn chowder, and we're doing this per family request. So the things that you're going to need for this recipe is, of course, corn, sweet potatoes, and we got 4 cobs of corn and 3 pretty good sized sweet potatoes, shallots or shallots if you're Gordon Ramsay, some garlic, a red pepper, bacon. Everything's better with bacon. And we're going to make some chicken stock using the chicken base. We have heavy cream, sherry vinegar, of course salt and pepper. We got some semi-fresh sage. We usually have fresh thyme, but didn't make it to this part of the season. And it asks for curry powder. There's actually no such thing. There's no spice that's actually called curry. Curry's always a spice blend. Last time we made this recipe, we couldn't find the curry powder, so I just used turmeric. And so in this particular spice blend, we've got coriander, fenugreek, turmeric, and red pepper and onion. But if you just had to choose something, what you're going for is that turmeric flavor. Butter, and I guess that's it, isn't it, Sibby?
Bay leaf.
Oh yeah, bay leaf, and I'm still at a loss exactly what bay leaf brings to any party. But anyway, we're going to throw it in there. So we've done our mise en place off camera. So what you see here is we have our sweet potato. Be aware that these things can be a little bit difficult to cut, so you might want to get your kitchen utensils from Black & Decker. We also have our red pepper. It really doesn't matter what color you use, but I would not use green. Green tends to be a little bit bitter, but any of the other colors are fine. We have our shallots. Sibby has already taken the kernels off the cob. And we've got our bacon diced up, and I'm leaving my garlic whole for now. Instead of dicing the garlic up, we're going to use a garlic press and just press it in after the sweet potatoes have been on long enough to soften up. I think you can extract a little more flavor from garlic by pressing it rather than dicing it. So we're getting ready to put some heat on this stuff. So we've rendered the fat out of the bacon, and we're going to put the crispy bacon to the side, and we'll just put that on top of the finished product. So now we're ready to go in with the sweet potatoes, red pepper, and shallot. And we're going to cook that in the bacon fat. And I also put a little bit of olive oil in there. And so this step takes the longest, and it just takes as long as it takes. You want to get that sweet potato softened up so that it's soft. Okay, so at this point, it's softened up, but it still has a little bit of crunch to it. Now, once we have all the liquids in here, we're going to simmer it a little bit longer, and that'll finish cooking the sweet potatoes. So at this point, I think we can go ahead and go to the next step. first thing we're going to do is we're going to put about 4 tablespoons of butter. So we'll toss that in, and we'll also go ahead and season things a little bit. So a little salt, a little pepper. You don't want to go too crazy with the salt because the stock already has salt in it. And now we will go ahead and put our garlic in. Remember I said we're going to press the garlic rather than dicing it in. Now the correct way to use garlic is look and see what the recipe calls for and put in at least twice that. So kind of swirl things around a bit until you can smell the garlic. We want to be sure that we've kind of cooked the garlic a little bit before we start adding any liquid. And at this point we also want to go ahead and put our spices in. And so we'll start with the curry powder. And again, if you don't have curry powder, if you have some turmeric, that'll be just fine. That's actually what we did last time we made this dish. And a little thyme. And the ever-present basil, which as I mentioned, I'm not real sure what that does, but there it is. Oh, I said basil, I meant bay leaf. And we're going to cut up a little sage to go in there. I used to think I didn't like sage. What I don't like is dried sage. Fresh sage is pretty good. Now, sage can have a pretty strong flavor to it, so start with a little bit. You can always add more, but once you put it in, you can't take it out. So, we're going to go in with the chicken stock now. We've got 2 cups we're adding, and I don't think that's going to be enough. So Sibby is making me some more chicken stock. So when you put this in, you can kind of scrape along the bottom of the pot and get all that fond up. I guess you still call this fond, don't you? Even though it's not.
Vegetable fond?
Vegetable fond. Not sure if that's a thing or not, but that's what we're going to call it. So that's a total of 4 cups of chicken stock. And when you're cooking, when something calls for butter, be sure you use butter. In fact, if you have any margarine in your refrigerator, go throw it in the trash. So at this point, we have made a relatively healthy dish. So now we're going to take care of that. We got 2 cups of heavy cream. Okay, and we're going to put some sherry vinegar in it. You just kind of do that to taste. Just remember, we're cooking, we're not baking. So you have a lot of dealer's choices to make when you're cooking. A lot of times, Sibby and I will see a recipe we like, and we'll pull the recipe up, and really all we're looking at is the ingredients. We kind of do whatever we want with it. So at this point, everything's in the pot, except for the corn. And the corn we're going to put in at the last minute. Corn cooks pretty quickly, and the corn's going to be what adds a fair amount of texture to this dish. So we don't want to overcook it. But we're going to taste what we got so far. Sibby? I think it needs salt. Yeah, so at this point we're adjusting our seasoning. I'm surprised it was not particularly salty. So we're just going to keep adding salt until we can taste salt. And Sibby says we need some more of the curry paste, and I agree. That's better. See what you think.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, so we think we got the salt adjusted. We're going to add a little bit more of the curry powder. So let's see what the verdict is. I think that's it. So what we're going to do at this point, we're going to let this simmer away for about 30 minutes or so. And one thing you can use on savory dishes, they don't call for this, but I use this a lot, is MSG. It looks like salt. It is not salt. It has a very umami flavor. It tastes like meat. And so you can take a otherwise bland dish, add a little MSG to it, and you'd be surprised. It'll really wake it up. And we're going to do one more thing. We're going to make a roux. Yeah, it's good. To help thicken things up. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it as far as this goes. It's probably, as it is, it's not going to thicken up to the consistency that we would like. So again, we're going to make a real simple roux to add in here. So the roux, as you saw, was roughly equal parts butter and flour. I put in a little extra butter just because I found that if I have extra butter in there, I have a little more control as I'm cooking the roux. I've seen a lot of recipes where it'll call for you to put flour in whatever liquid you happen to be working with. Don't do that. You wind up with raw flour in there and you can taste that. So if you ever need to thicken something up, a roux is the way to do it. Now, the longer you cook the roux, and you have to keep an eye on this or you can easily burn it, but as the flour starts to cook, you'll be able to smell this nutty aroma coming up from it. And the flavor of a roux changes depending on how long you cook it. For this is basically what I want. I want my roux to have a nice tan color. If you go down to New Orleans and watch those cooks make some of their dishes, they'll take this down to a really dark brown. And again, the flavor is different when you do that, but this is what I want for this particular dish. And so it will almost immediately thicken things up. Yeah, I think that's a nice consistency. Okay, we're going to continue to simmer away a little bit longer. Okay, I think we're pretty much there at this point. So the last thing we need to do is put in our corn. And again, I'm putting that last thing so as not to overcook it. We want to have a little bit of texture in there. And for the corn, I don't know, 5 minutes at the most. To be honest with you, I'll eat raw corn. So there you go. This is sweet potato and corn chowder. Bon appetit.